Hi, everyone. My name is Lynne McIntee, and I'm host of Youth Connections Café. It's a program that's supported by Let's Talk and Moksha Canada Foundation. We're really excited to be here today. Part of Youth Connections Café is underscoring everything we do, mental health awareness, and reaching services in our community, shining light on services in our community. Hence that, we are connecting, creating, and inspiring. That's what we're all about, and we have amazing guests today. Before we get started, I will do a virtual land acknowledgement just to acknowledge respectfully where we are today, although we're coming from different areas as well. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we're on today. While we meet today on this virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we all call home. So welcome. Welcome to this space, and thank you to Moksha Canada Foundation for allowing us to be in this platform. And we just so value it very much. And please reach out to us on social media should you have any ideas for programming. Before I introduce my guests, Moksha Canada Foundation brings awareness and issues of public concern, such as racism, discrimination, bullying, cyber safety, and organizing community events and awareness panel discussions through social media campaigns. We promote diversity, multiculturalism, inclusion, equity, and accessibility through all of these platforms. So if you have an idea, please reach out to us on social media. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to include you in programming or conversation. Some guests we have today. We have Malcolm Bernstein, who is from the Benjamin Project. And we'll just do a quick hello first, and then we'll get into some of the questions that we pose to both of the guests. And we'll do them intermittently. So we'll ask a question of Malcolm and then over to Lyse, who I'm also introducing right now. So hello, Malcolm.
Hi there.
Hi. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We're humbled that you're here today. And our other guest is Lyse van Arragon, and she's from the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada. Um,
Hi.
welcome. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And our topic today is compassion, wellness, and stewardship. And how wonderful is that? We've got some amazing guests to underscore all of the things that we talk about and truly believe that mental health is all part of our lives, and compassion and stewardship, of course, is as well too. So I'm going to start out with just introducing the Benjamin Project a little bit, but mostly Malcolm, and then I'll let Malcolm kind of, bridge out into that. So Malcolm is the founder of the Benjamin Project in memory of his precious four-legged little boy. The project's mission is to educate on responsible pet ownership and to raise funds for shelters, sanctuaries, and rescues. The proceeds from Malcolm's books about Benjamin and his annual calendar are donated. Malcolm is also on the board of Toronto Humane Society. In his day job, Malcolm is a management consultant, and he lives in Toronto with his better half, Helen.
Or better half.
Thank you so much for being here. And I'll just read the bio also for Lyse, so a lot of people get a sense of things going forward in our conversation. All right, so we have Lyse van Arragon, who is from the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, and she volunteered at the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada as a teenager, which I thought was quite cool when I read that. I thought that's very amazing how we pursue things thereafter by getting these volunteer experiences.
Right, yeah.
She returned as an employee. Her current role is a boutique manager, acting volunteer, and events coordinator. At the DSC, the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada provides lifelong home to donkeys and mules in need. The staff and volunteers are dedicated to the care and to educating the public through the website and outreach. And also, it just says one-line bio. I work at the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada as a boutique manager, acting volunteer, and events coordinator. So we'll underscore that. So welcome to both of you. So excited to have you be here today. And we're leading into the holidays. And what a great topic, talking about compassion, wellness, and stewardship. So we're going to go with that, and maybe just a quick introduction from both of you. And I'll start with Malcolm. Malcolm, can you introduce yourself a little bit more? And then we'll go into our questions.
Sure. Thanks, Lynn. And once again, thank you so much for having me here. My background is basically management consulting and holding management and executive jobs for different organizations. Spent my career in both public, private, and not-for-profit sectors, and the better part of the last couple of decades in the not-for-profit sector, largely RIT. When I'm not doing that, I'm the founder of the Benjamin Project, which is a true passion project for me. Benjamin was our family dog for 13 wonderful years. He was an incredible little boy. We loved him dearly. We lost Benjamin in 2013 and wanted to do something to honor his life. So I wrote a book about Benjamin in 2014, and we started the Benjamin Project at that point. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll take a deeper dive after we introduce Lyse a little bit further as well, and we'll go into those questions. So thank you so much for joining us. For those of you that will be listening and tuning in and sharing this platform with others, we encourage you to reach out to these organizations as well as you hear more about the organizations and the people that are representing the organizations. All right, Lyse, a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Like I said, I started with the Donkey Sanctuary as a teenager, so I volunteered there. And then, continued on with my studies and had a family. And once my youngest, I have three children, once my youngest was in school, I was approached to come back to the sanctuary as an employee. So I've been there about 6 years now. And I just love being there, love being around the animals. I've always been an animal lover. So we joke here at home, we're a blended family. We have, my partner and I have 5 children, and then we have 8 pets. So
Um,
yeah, personal life spills into professional life there with the love of animals. So
Oh, that's amazing. And I'd like to hear that out loud. That's incredible. Because that's truly why we're here today, is to underscore that. So thank you for both sharing that aspect of your lives. I'm going to go back to Malcolm for a moment. And how did the Benjamin Project, which you sort of touched on, start? And I guess maybe if you could take us on a deeper dive with that. Yeah.
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, I mean, we really loved Benjamin very much. He brought out the best in us and everyone and everything he touched and came in contact with, and just felt that we needed to do something to keep his life and his memory alive. And so I wanted to chronicle his life and wrote this book, which was published in 2014. And it was, a large part about him, a little bit about me and us as well, and how our lives kind of were intertwined. Also wrote a little bit about the end of his life, which was difficult, and felt very strongly that had to do something to really honor the goodness of this little boy. So the book was published in 2014, and we started the Benjamin Project. And the mission is to educate children on responsible pet ownership and animal stewardship. I have a presentation about Benjamin that I make to kids in schools and Humane Society kids camps and provincial schools for the deafblind, CNIB events, that kind of thing. Also present to adults in residences and libraries. So the presentation appeals to kids of all ages. And it's the core of the Benjamin Project. In addition to that, I wrote a kids book in 2018. And then a couple of years ago, co-authored with some 20 authors across the country, an anthology of stories about animals and their impact on our emotional well-being. And so the proceeds from those books are donated to shelters, sanctuaries, and rescues. And so that's the essence of the project. It educates and gives people a chance, kids of all ages, a chance to come together, tell their stories, and enjoy hearing about Benjamin's life. And we raise funds and donate everything we bring in to those who need it, and more recently also to people shelters, which of course are in huge need of funding as well.
Oh, no, thank you so much. And it sounds very complete, actually. And I know it's a work in progress all the time, but it sounds like there are many levels that you have taken it in the fact that you're reaching so many young, very, very important. I think the circle of life and explaining death to children, that support as well, too, is very important, the circle of life. And I think that you're reaching so many different people in the community is so important work that you're doing. Um, what an emotional process that would be for you, going through those levels of development, I guess, if you will, for the programming, for the Benjamin Project.
Well, it is something that's very much, I'd say, an emotional investment, if you will.
Hmm.
Um, I must say, and I mentioned it before, that writing the book, and especially the last chapters, which I was writing while Benjamin was going through his two illnesses,
Mm.
was emotionally difficult.
Yes.
But I had to do it. And, uh, just to your point, speaking to kids about his life and also the end of his life is important so that if they have a pet, they might give some thought to how to ensure the most dignified end of life, because in all likelihood, they will outlive their pet.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the journey and the emotional aspect of the journey. But the other parts, which are very kind of exhilarating, is being able to bring his story to others, engage them in telling their stories, which they love, including the kids in their 90s, reminisce about the pets they had when they were younger. And also giving kids a chance to do artwork. They do artwork at the end of the presentation, and it's quite incredible in terms of what they portray based on what they heard in the presentation and what it means for them.
Mm.
And our scholarship fund, which is which and this is all nominal amounts, just to be clear about it.
Mhm.
But kids can apply for a scholarship and they write an application talking about the impact animals have had in their life on their emotional well-being. And so that is incredibly meaningful.
Yeah.
And then they get a small amount of money, which their parents commit to setting aside for their post-secondary education, and in hopes that possibly they will, in whole or in part, study about animal welfare, perhaps even find a career in that sector. And both award winners to date wrote about the impact of their pets on their mental health. One was a 6-year-old, one was a 14-year-old.
Wow.
And both want to go to school eventually and become vets. So that's part of the highs of the emotional journey, if you will.
That's very cool. Yeah, and speaking on a high level there, like wow, the people that you're reaching, and just as a flower lives and breathes, so do our pets, and lives and breathes and dies, and it's a circle of life. It's important for children to understand that, and to be able to share their journey as well too. And it sounds like that's very much happening with the work that you do. I'd love to double back on that at some point. We're going to loop in Lyse to the conversation and what she's doing over at the Donkey Sanctuary. Give you a moment to listen in as well, and we'll just kind of jump back and forth with these questions. I'm just so honored that you're both here today to share your experiences, but also the people that you're touching in our community. So once again, we're here for Youth Connections Cafe, Moksha Canada Foundation, Connect, Create, and Inspire. And that's what I'm hearing today, that we're connecting, we're creating, and inspiring the youth of today. So Lyse, could you tell us a little bit more about the Donkey Sanctuary, and how did that come to be, maybe the origin of it, and a little bit more your knowledge of that, please and
Sure,
thank you.
of course. The Donkey Sanctuary was founded by Sandra Patey in 1992, and with a vision of creating a space where donkeys, mules, and hinnies could live free from neglect and abuse. So she and her family purchased this farm, and it's become a sanctuary now and provides a lifelong home for these animals. And not all have suffered from abuse. In some cases, it's that their owners are no longer able to take care of them, so they can continue the rest of their life here at the sanctuary.
Wow. And it's unfortunate there's something like that in need, that we need something like that, a sanctuary for abused animals. But that being said, a very important part in our communities. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. Is there anything nationally? There's a Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, but there are other parts of Canada that runs these programs, or internationally?
Well, there are other sanctuaries in Canada, and the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada was modeled after the UK version. Yeah, so same sort of ideas there, and they were, provided a lot of guidance and information to Sandra.
Yeah.
Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, no, for sure. We're still here. Thank you, Lyse. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, not at all.
Um,
Yeah. I can just talk while you're
okay, something here has happened with the screen. My
oh
apologies.
no, that's
See if I
okay.
can get back to you. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great, Lisa. We'll just keep on talking for a moment and
Oh, there
uh
we go.
oh great.
Got
Yeah.
you back.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry about
For
that.
sure.
Not sure what happened there.
Yeah, no, that's why,
Okay.
that's the beauty of technology.
Yeah, isn't it though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just as that. And so it is international as well too, and it's also across Canada. There are other sections, I guess, of it.
Yeah, yeah. So unfortunately, there is the need,
Yeah.
for sanctuaries for all animals, and we're just happy that we can provide this for the donkeys, mules, and hinnies that need
Hmm.
it. Hmm.
Yeah. No, thank
So
you for that. Thanks.
yeah,
Do you have any questions, Malcolm, for Elise at this point while I just give you an opportunity there?
Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, I did have the pleasure when we had Benjamin of visiting the donkey sanctuary.
hmm,
It's an amazing place.
yeah. Isn't
Uh,
it though? Yeah.
Pardon me?
I said, isn't it though?
It's absolutely incredible. It's beautiful. We were blown away by the care that you provide. Um, Participated, at least Helen did, in brushing a donkey
Yeah.
and offering some kind of care. Benjamin just wanted to play with anything that moved. And we were advised that might not be the best idea.
Right. Yeah.
So he and I just hung out on a beautiful patch of grass. I remember very vividly, actually, now that I'm speaking to you. And so it's truly an incredible place. And I guess what we're always looking for opportunities to build partnerships with people like you in places like yours, to either at fundraising events tell Benjamin's story or otherwise provide books and calendars for sale, and you keep the proceeds, completely. And that's kind of what gives us a lot of joy, is being able to make a little bit of a contribution. My view and our perspective is that animals are sentient beings. Um, and donkeys are very wise sentient beings, and we believe the whole animal kingdom realm are comprised of animals who are sentient beings, and that's what we try to impart to kids when we tell the story about Benjamin and his life. And so anyone we can partner with to bring that message out, and of course honor Benjamin, is something we're always looking to do.
Hmm. I had the opportunity to visit as well and spend some time there over the years, Lisa, and it's just a beautiful space, as Malcolm mentioned. It's an experience for sure, and I highly recommend it if anybody has not been there to seek it out. And it's a great space to hang out. Um, the staff are incredible, really, really incredible. From volunteers to of course paid employees as well. But it's a vibe. It's a definite vibe for
Yeah.
sure. And one thing that stood out to me was just being able to engage with the animals, as Malcolm had said, that experience for children who have never really experienced anything like that before, and just seeing them come alive, if you will, with emotion in that exchange. It's profound, really, really, really profound.
Yeah.
Um, the
It,
space,
it,
it's, yeah, yeah.
oh, I was going to say, no, it provides an experience for all visitors, sort of regardless of why they've come. Sometimes it's to connect with nature, sometimes it's to connect with each other. You know, they may come as a group, family, or to connect with the animals. And sometimes that's all you need is the silence of the animals and to just experience that with them, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I love hearing the stories that the visitors have when they come, both when they come and when they leave as well, sort of what they're taking away from the farm and
Mhm.
from their time there.
Mhm. And
Yeah,
then, they tell two friends and they tell two friends, and it's that chain reaction of joy, to pass that on to another. One thing that also stood out to me was the carrot walk, where at the end of the day, I guess, carrots were being fed to the donkeys. So, some people that I was with actually wanted to stick around for that. They were just getting ready to go back into their space for the evening time. And one of the caregivers was going to be giving them carrots. And so there was a procession of,
oh, this must have been a while ago then.
yes. So that
So
was the
it has
first
changed so
experience with
many
it.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I just thought, oh my goodness. And it was just left such a memory just seeing that. It was very almost well, it's imprinted in my heart and in my memory for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And even just the space for the picnic area down by the waterway, it's just
Yeah.
so pristine and beautiful. And it really takes you into that nature space as you had spoken about. And sometimes we just all need to dial it down and take it down a notch,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Quiet
present
our minds and
quieter
yeah.
minds.
Yeah.
And
And the farm is beautiful in that we have trails on the property as well, so they're accessible by our visitors, depending when you come. So we have open days on Sundays, May through October,
yeah,
closed November, and then again for 3 weeks in December. So, it varies whether you come in the spring, the summer, fall, or the winter. It's beautiful regardless.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
cool. That's
Mhm.
really cool. That'd be a different experience in the winter as opposed to the spring. And so that 3 weeks in the winter, then what's kind of happening?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, it is, and that's always interesting for visitors as well. You know, if they tend to come in the spring or the summer, we encourage them to come in the winter as well.
yeah.
Uh, Unfortunately, this December we didn't have any snow. We had some rainy open days, but it's a different feeling. We decorate the farm for Christmas, so it's really quite lovely.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. I appreciate that. You've both touched on it from both your orgs. One of the questions, of course, was how long has it been in existence? You had mentioned the dates, for yourself, Malcolm, 2012,
We started the Benjamin Project in 2014.
2014, pardon me,
Yeah.
2014. Yeah, no, for sure. And then, of course, the Donkey Sanctuary, once again.
1992.
Okay, so thank you very much. And if you could, you've talked about the mandate and the mission, but if there's any core values that you'd like to underscore for our listeners and viewers, if you want to double back on any of those, we'd really appreciate that, especially for our young people listening in, because it's about character building, a moral compass and guidance in our lives, whatever road we decide to go down. So we would love it if you have anything to underscore in that regard in terms of your mission.
Lyse, did you want to comment?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I actually have our mission printed here, if you don't mind me reading from a piece of
please.
paper, just so I don't miss anything.
Yeah.
So the DSC's mission is to provide a lifelong home to donkeys, mules, and hinnies who are unwanted, neglected, or abused, or whose owners can no longer care for them, and to promote the responsible stewardship of all animals through humane education. So Malcolm had touched on that as well, but uh, our volunteers and staff alike really focus on educating the public when they come to visit us on open days and special events through the year. And that having an animal, whether it be a small animal, dog or a cat, or a larger animal, it is a lifelong commitment. And taking the time to learn how to properly care for them and give them the best life possible, is really our focus.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And Malcolm.
Yeah, I think that has a lot of resonance for me and for our project. I think in the first instance, what we try and convey is that animals, and I mentioned it before, are sentient beings.
Yeah.
They're wise, knowing creatures. They feel things just as we do. They communicate constantly. We just have to learn their language. They what we're trying to convey is the importance of treating them with the dignity, the respect, and the love that they deserve, and to do everything one can to eliminate animal cruelty from the world. So those are core values for us and core to our mission. And in that sense, the incredible need and opportunity for kids, especially, to grow up and be stewards of the animal realm and do what they can to promote this sense of respecting animals for being the sentient beings that they are. So that's kind of what drives us and the message we try to impart as we go along our little journey here.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, coming from the education field as well too. It's another component that I've done throughout my career. But it's if you have to love yourself in order to care for others and love others. But sometimes it can work in reverse as well too. Learning how to love another and then beginning to build up yourself thereafter. So it's beautiful to watch children in particular and youth have that exchange with animals and the caregiving capacity and how you can see them open up and flower and find themselves, if you will, in that role of responsibility. So it's quite profound to watch that.
Just to tell you a little anecdote, and it just happened last weekend, as a matter of fact. We were walking downtown Toronto, and there was, I assume a homeless person sitting at a corner of a major intersection with their dog. They were all bundled up, but it was a really cold, nasty day.
Yeah.
And so stopped to chat. Whenever I see a dog, it's going to catch my attention right away, and playing with the little pup. And of course, made a little bit of a donation and got a coffee for him and so on. But point being that those two beings, this man and that dog, I'm sure would keep each other going.
Yeah.
And your heart goes out to both of them for the circumstances they're in. But know from my work with Toronto Humane and other organizations that that bond is indelible, and I'm just sure that they need each other, and whatever the circumstances happen to be that led to where they are, that's a sacred bond and needs to be honored and valued.
And to your point, interesting, I had seen a story about a veterinarian doing work for homeless pet owners and offering services for free. And I just think that's so necessary, so wonderful that that has been thought of. And it makes me think of this area and our places across Canada where we could provide that service, for supporting the animals that are with the unhoused, because it is a special bond and that is on a very, very deep level. And it would be nice to care not only for the unhoused person's health, but their animal that they're spending their life with. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually that's one of the reasons that we over the last few years have started to donate to people shelters from the Benjamin Project. And it's certainly one of the reasons why we at Toronto Humane in this case have fostered relationships with human shelters, provide medical care to the pets of people who happen to be in those shelters,
Oh,
provide food for their animals or foster their animals if they can't keep them in the shelter. But as long as they're in the shelter, we'll foster their animals so that they can, and they know they can get their pet back at such time as they leave the shelter.
that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. Any comments at all, Lyse, at this point, or questions?
Well, touching on children with animals, I think is
Mm,
it's very important for kids to, and we found that at home with our kids, having raised them with animals, the compassion that they learn and how to care for something other than yourself, and how to feel for something other than yourself and be concerned for them, how to care for them in terms of, everyday care and the vet care that goes along with it. And having youth out at the sanctuary, we see that as well, that they can step outside of themselves and really experience it with the animals.
thank you for that, for saying that as well. Appreciate that. Then I guess how rewarding is your work? Please expand upon for anybody listening in. Shall I stick with Lyse for a moment and then I'll jump back to you, Malcolm?
Oh, please do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I find it very rewarding, especially because I work in different aspects. So, like I said, I manage the boutique. So, being in there and meeting our visitors, both coming in and on the way out, and what their experience was. And they're all ages from, children to seniors. And hearing about their favorite donkeys and why and what they loved about being at the farm. To also, I'm the acting volunteers and events coordinator, so working with recruiting new volunteers, training them, and then working with the volunteers we currently have, and some we've had for many, many, many years. Uh, Witnessing their dedication and their commitment to the care of our animals, the passion that they have is just extraordinary. And the time that they give so willingly to both the animals and to educating the public about them as well. And then with events, so that's our open days. We have a fundraiser the end of September called PACE. So it's a 5K run walk at the sanctuary, and which is really incredible as well because people get to run. There's a 5K route, so they get to interact with the animals and meet new people. We have teams that come out that are families or know each other from the community, or they may work together. So it's really interesting to see how the donkeys, mules, and hinnies have really, they bring these groups together to make that experience really a fulfilling one.
Hmm. Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're all animal whisperers.
Yeah. Well, the farm itself is so beautiful. I say to people, it's just driving down the laneway, and you would both probably remember this from your visits at the farm. It's like you just experience this calm sort of right away, and that stays the whole time that I'm there. It's a pretty great place to be.
Hmm. So the
Mm.
crossover with your roles, they're all interconnected, the roles that you do. Um, which one takes most of your time? Just curious.
Sure. Well, the events coordinator role is a new one. So I just took that on mid-October. So the past 6 years, I've been doing the boutique, which is fantastic. I love everything about it, from purchasing the product to displaying it, to managing the store and being there on the open days.
Yeah.
So Christmas, definitely busiest with the boutique in terms of operating the store for our open days, but also doing online sales
Mhm.
and mail order sales because we have our online store. So that keeps me busy. And then come the new year, it'll be working with the volunteers. So we'll do a volunteer training program early spring.
Yeah.
So get some new people working at the farm. So yeah, I anticipate that being a busy time for me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Do you want to underscore anything at the boutique if anybody's listening in or with their families and had an interest in some of the merch that you may carry?
Oh, check it out. It's
Wow.
always changing. I like to say to people, it's sort of like a Winners, and that if you see it once, you may not see it again. So, but I'm always sourcing new material. So, yeah,
Oh,
check out the online store.
yeah.
If you have any questions, feel free to call me or reach out via email. I'm always available.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And then what about yourself, Malcolm? And I know your work is rewarding, but could you expand upon that more and how that speaks to you as a human being for the work that you do?
Um, sure. It's very rewarding to see the response of people in the room when I'm telling Benjamin's story. First of all, the kids engage in reading from the kids' book, and they can't wait to get to the front of the class. Literally running up to read from that book. It's
Oh,
quite remarkable. But adults read from the adult book, the first one that came out about Benjamin, and you see the emotion. I asked them to tell their stories as well, and it takes them back years, decades. It's very, it's quite touching
yes.
actually to see that. So it's pretty rewarding. I remember, and in different instances, I mean, remember being at one of the provincial schools for the deaf in Belleville, and the auditorium was full, and I had the school assigned a signer for me, and the presentation's about an hour long, and the kids didn't like kids anywhere didn't want to leave the room, couldn't get enough of the presentation. This little boy, he must have been around 6, came up during the midst of the presentation and tugged at my pant leg and wanted me to pick him up and just hold him. Well, so I'm holding him and talking about Benjamin at the same time. That was pretty rewarding by way of an experience. Um, the so the engagement is one thing. The other thing that's rewarding is the impact that we try to have on places that we partner with. And to be clear, I mean, we're really small. So it's, you know, still even 10 years in, I'd say fledgling. We're always looking for ways to grow the Benjamin Project with partners who can provide venues for us to speak or opportunities to fundraise for them. We also look for ways to give the presentation to people, especially youth, who
Yeah.
may want to run with that presentation in schools and take it forward and start up Benjamin Booster clubs of kids in schools or what have you. But the people we do work with who are partners, that's very rewarding to be able to have people you're working with and who like the message and the essence of what you're doing and want to be part of it or help you grow it.
Mhm.
And it's also rewarding to work with people who reach out and want to once again want to help grow the Benjamin Project. So, for example, my publisher, and I'll just
Yeah.
give a shout out to Lisa Browning in Guelph
Yeah.
of 1,000 Trees, published the kids' book and the adult anthology of stories about animals and our emotional well-being pro bono. And we're going to be doing a kids anthology in 2024, stories by kids about their pets and the impact those pets have had on their well-being. And she's going to publish that pro bono as well. And then, you know, Sandra Wilson in Kitchener, who's the illustrator for some of our work and certainly the cover of this 2024 calendar and other work, they make it worthwhile as well. So that's very rewarding to have people who want to help you do something that they also think is really important. So there's a lot of reward along the way, to be honest about it.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. It feels like I'm so there when I'm hearing you talk about it. And oh my goodness. And I've had the opportunity to meet Lisa before. Again, a shout out for 1,000 Trees once again. And she's a lovely person. Had a chance to interview her and shine light on her work, but also, one of the authors of her poetry books. Excuse me. just a lovely, lovely person, and doing work for the right reasons, I guess, is kind of what you're speaking to. So you never know, we might get a chance to double back on this conversation once all of those things unfold, and perhaps we can have you all on for a conversation in the upcoming future.
That would be great. And by the way, now that you mentioned Lyse again, I also wanted to and it's about rewarding, what's rewarding. So my corporate printer is the Printing House, and they print our annual calendar run every year as a donation from their foundation. And that's really rewarding because that calendar run gives us a chance to raise $1,000 or $1,500, which we then can donate. So, that's very rewarding as well. That kind of partnership.
And it truly takes a village, eh? It sounds like we're putting the unity back in community, is an expression I like to use, and I really feel that here with your conversations and what you're bringing to the table from the work that you do and all the people that you get a chance to, share in this journey with them and you. Wow, I could keep on going here. So, again, in terms of the clients you serve, you've mentioned youth, yes. I have a question just regarding book readings and when you're going out of there in the community. Do you happen to do senior homes by any chance?
Yeah, we do residences
Yeah.
and readings in libraries as part of their reading program. Always looking for new venues.
Yeah.
And that is something that is a bit of a struggle given the day job to just devote the time
Yes.
to do justice to the project and continue to grow the project.
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely love going out to seniors' residences. They love the story.
Yeah.
And it brings back memories for them. They buy books for their grandchildren.
Mm.
And then we allow them to choose the venue that we'll donate to, the sanctuary, shelter, or rescue that we'll donate the proceeds to.
Amazing.
Which is also really meaningful for them.
Yeah.
In terms of kids and just the other end of the spectrum, when we do events in schools, they'll often do fundraisers in advance for the Benjamin Project. Yeah. And they'll bring in bags of coins, hundreds of dollars worth of coins that they've counted. And I take them on their word for it, and then they'll decide which shelter or sanctuary rescue they want to donate it to. I'll match it, and we'll give the funds in the form of a check on the spot to a representative from that organization who will be there that day. So once again, it's all about making it a meaningful experience, be it big kids or little kids.
Yeah, yeah. And I have, just before we go on to the next question, and we have a little bit more time here with you, but that's okay for a little bit more time, folks. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, super duper. Thank you so much. As far as in the program, Young Street Mission or R4, or not R4 Inclusion, Horizons for Youth, are you familiar with those programs, Malcolm?
I'm familiar with the names, not the programs.
Not the programs, yeah. It just got me thinking, actually, in terms of that connection and maybe at least Horizons for Youth anyhow, but there are many components of Young Street Mission, just something for you to pursue in terms of potential, conversation, partnerships, not speaking for them, but just directing you to some wonderful people in the work that they're doing as well, too.
No, thank you. That's incredibly helpful.
For sure.
And, that's very helpful, and I will pursue them.
Yeah.
Also open to just going into venues where people might be in a shelter and presenting to them with no strings attached, not looking to sell anything, not looking to raise the money, but just to give their clients a bit of a respite and an enjoyable experience. That's also part of what we look for opportunities to do, which, to your earlier question, it brings meaning and makes it the whole thing kind of rewarding.
Yeah, cool. And another thing that comes to mind, we do the Toronto Diversity Festival as well, and other festivals across, Afro-Caribbean Festival, etc. But ours is right downtown, generally, in the downtown core. Might be something you may want to connect on, as far as in having an information booth and opportunity to, present any, written materials or just educate the public along the way regarding your initiatives. And even for the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, there might be an opportunity to have a booth there for you should you have the people to staff it, volunteer to do it, to shine light on the work that you do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you more about that in upcoming. Where by January we should have everything launched, ready to go, and have our dates sorted out for that. And it's wonderful. The people that come through, or and just in one day, it's 80,000 to 100,000 people that just in one day, that come through the event, and there's a good way to shine light even further. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
thank you.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm just looking at the last few questions. You mentioned the scholarship program, but I'm going to go back to the Donkey Sanctuary for a moment in terms of funding. Where does the funding come from for the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada?
It's nonprofit, so it's all donations. Ticket sales for open days. We also have tours.
Mm.
So if you visit Eventbrite, you can book a tour. So we have community groups come through, seniors groups, school groups, students, youth groups, some homeschool groups come through. And then people are also able to leave bequests in their wills if they so desire once they've taken care of family and friends. Yeah, so it's all donation based. Yeah.
Mm. I
Hmm.
sense a work retreat would be great out there.
Yes, absolutely. We're always amazed by the generosity of our donors.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, uh, yeah, how willing people are to donate both their time and their money to helping the sanctuary succeed in our mission.
Mm. Do you mind,
Hmm.
before I jump over to Malcolm, speak to accessibility
Sure.
for people if they want to visit? Is it accessible?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, um, depending on their concerns, we would have different ways around the farm that we could work it. So, we do have special senior stays throughout the years where the sanctuary is just open for our senior groups that come, because they often have accessibility issues, and we always find a way to have them come see the animals and see the farm as well. So if that's taking them down the laneway, and then, the animals are welcome to come up to the fence line to visit them that way.
Amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, Moksha Canada's anyone and everyone is welcome, and that's what I'm feeling from you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. We
Awesome.
want everyone to be able to experience the love that the donkeys and mules want to share with them,
Mhm.
and just the farm itself.
Cool. Awesome.
Mhm.
And Malcolm, could you speak more to, I guess, either funding, where that comes from, book sales, other people that may make donations perhaps, or just round us out a little bit more in that area, and would love to hear more.
So we're a small nonprofit.
Yeah.
We're a non-registered nonprofit, non-registered by virtue of my accountant threatening me that I'll go bankrupt if I try and register this and and do all the bookkeeping. But the books we do have books, and anyone can audit them at any time. And that, in fact,
Yes.
is right on my website that
Yeah.
we're open to being audited at any time.
Yeah.
But we have no core funding. I mean, in essence, certainly nothing from government. It's all donations
Wow.
and self-funding.
Passion, passion, and passion. Wow, wow. It takes special people like yourselves to, contribute in that way. So appreciate that very much. We're just sort of wrapping up now. We have the last few here. What role does the community play in your stewardship initiatives?
So if I can comment on that,
Yeah.
Dan. So the community is vital for us to do what we do. And in that regard, always looking for communities to embrace this and provide us with venues to come in and talk, tell Benjamin's story, and hold fundraisers. And I think about the event we did up at the public library in Sault Ste. Marie, magnificent place, with the big crowd, raised close to $1,000 that day, which we then gave to representatives from the Sault Ste. Marie Humane Society who were there. So that's the kind of thing that we are always looking for, as well as schools far and wide who will bring us in and help kind of provide a venue or shelter sanctuaries with their kids' camps or otherwise to start up a Benjamin Booster Club, be it here or in other geographies, to help so the kids can go out and change the world. So the community is vitally important to us from that perspective.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And what about yourself, Lyse? Commenting on that.
Yeah, same. I would say community is vital in terms of coming to visit us, spreading the word, volunteering, and we have different things where people will do fundraisers and then and very generously donate the money to the sanctuary to help in our goals there. So yeah, always vital.
Amazing. Okay. And if someone wanted to get involved, how could they do that, Lyse?
Well, in terms of volunteering, we have a lot of different volunteer roles. So it could be working with the animals, of course, grooming and helping with their upkeep, cleaning paddocks. We have an environmental committee. We have a gardening club. We have special events, and we have our open days as well. So with people who are more interested in engaging with the public and helping to educate them. So a lot of different volunteer roles, definitely. And they can reach out either through the website to check it out or directly to my email.
Nice.
And I can help them along their way.
Very cool. Okay, thank you. And is there any age limit on volunteering?
So to volunteer, we do accept at 16 years of age. There's, of course, no top end of that. So we'll keep you as long as you're willing to be here with us. But we do have volunteer days throughout the years where we encourage families to come out. So both in the spring and the fall, when we're in the spring getting the farm ready for our open days. So putting away snow fencing and doing some gardening and cleaning and that. And then in the fall, as we're preparing for our winter season, we do encourage families to come out. So then younger children can come out and experience the farm and really feel like they're giving of their time and helping to do something that's giving back, feeling productive and feeling a part of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And if for some reason a younger person wanted to participate in that process and maybe perhaps they don't have access to their parents going along with them, they could come along with an aunt or uncle or a community member that has been
Oh,
approved.
absolutely. A guardian. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course. Yeah.
Great. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Malcolm, coming back to you. If someone wanted to reach out, how would they do that?
Well, we have our coordinates on our website, www.thebenjaminproject.ca. And so feel free to reach out anytime, or you can reach me at Malcolm Bernstein at simpatico.ca. And, always looking for ideas. If, help with promoting the Benjamin Project with technology, which I think I shared with you, I'm pretty useless with, but I could use help with that. So promoting us on social media, taking the presentation and wanting to take it out to schools or other venues, and looking to start up Benjamin Booster Clubs or what have you. New product ideas. I mean, we have a kids anthology coming out in 2024, but there could be an online game, and could really use help with people who know technology and love doing this kind of thing. So open to any and all ideas for people who ascribe to the values of our project and what we're trying to achieve and want to be part of it.
And if someone wanted to do community hours, volunteer hours for high school, stewardship and community service, that's possible for both organizations, is what I'm hearing. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So just putting it out there, folks, for anyone who's listening and tuning in, lots of opportunities to give community service, but not necessarily in the high school level as well, beyond high school as well. And even maybe, a little younger sometimes if they have some social media savvy skills or graphic design skills or anything like that, that they can contribute to both projects. There may be an opportunity for you to shine light on the work that you do, but also collectively shine light on our community. And then I guess we're just wrapping up. It's just been amazing to speak with both of you. I just feel so full. My heart is full. So thank you very, very much for that. And I hope people tuning in will also feel that and pursue that wellness and compassion and a stewardship level when they're thinking about our animal friends and how that rounds us out as a human being. And it makes our life richer and fuller by stepping outside the box, stepping outside ourselves, and looking at it from a different scope. It's incredible. So I appreciate you both. Words of wisdom to wrap it up. No pressure.
You know, at least go first on that one.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'll let Malcolm go first.
Okay, but I'm sure you're both wiser than me.
Oh no, yeah.
So a shot at taking a stab at words of wisdom. See animals as the sentient beings that they are, and go through your life the way Benjamin lived his, happy, outgoing, and bringing out the best in everyone around him.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Lyse?
Words of wisdom. I would say get involved. And speaking just at the sanctuary, but I'm sure it applies to a lot. You never know the experience that you'll have, whether it's working with new individuals or just finding some peace. So I would say, yeah, get out there, get involved, maybe get outside of your comfort zone a little bit and see where it might bring you.
Incredible. Thank you so much. You have been part of this conversation for Youth Connections Cafe, and we've been talking about wellness, compassion, and stewardship for Bell Let's Talk, Moksha Canada Foundation. Truly a pleasure to have spent the time with both of you today. We want to thank our guests, Lyse van Arragon from the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada, Malcolm Bernstein from the Benjamin Project. They have lots going on, so I encourage you to reach out to them on social media and, see where you can contribute. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here, Moksha Canada Foundation, sharing this platform to the world and to our youth. So thank you very, very much. And I look forward to seeing you next time. And be sure to reach out to us on social media. My name is Lynne McIntee, and I've been a humble host with our lovely guests here today. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.